So today we're just going to show you in Communicator where to find Communicator, how to download it, how to set up your profile. We're going to have a look at some of the different page sets that are included in Communicator 5, and we'll look at some of the kind of options maybe in the keyboard, the keyboards today. And then Michael tomorrow is going to bring you on to one of the new features in Communicator 5, which is the accessible apps, which are really, really good and really, really worth checking out. I'll briefly touch on them today for you. So, okay, so just we'll get started there now. Let me just open this up. Okay, so the first thing I'm actually going to show you is where to find Communicator 5. So the easiest thing to do, and I recommend this for anyone who maybe is a therapist or you know, is working in the area, is to sign up for a MyTobyDynavox account. So you go to mytobydynavox.com, and there's an option up here to create an account. It's free to do so. So when you do that, you get options like we're going to talk about message banking this week. We do that through MyTobyDynavox. And if you are a professional, there's a tab here that says professionals, and here you fill out a form, and it gives you access to Snapcore First, Communicator 5. So if you're a professional, if you're a speech and language therapist or an occupational therapist, etc., you get access to the Toby software for free. You get a professional license, which allows you to use it for assessment purposes or training, or just, you know, how to edit and share pages with your users. So we got a lot of questions on that in the last few weeks, so I said I'd show you how to do that. So it's in your MyToby account, and you'll see a tab for professionals. So to download the software itself, and with most of Toby software, is if you click on support and then you scroll down to downloads, and within it you'll see here is where you'll find most of the download files for Toby software. So Communicator 5 is here. It's one of the first ones. Click on that, and then it's going to ask you just to which language you want it in, basically. So I'm assuming the majority will be English UK. So once that's done, and you open up Communicator for the first time, this is the page that you'll be met with. Sorry, I forgot to mention, actually, there's a Q&A section on the side menu. If you want to ask any questions throughout the webinar, just drop them in there. Michael, Ishita, and Alice from TobyDynavox are joining us today, so just feel free to ask any questions, and I'll come back to them at the end as well. So here we are. We're setting up our user. So we'll just call it Connor today. And we can pick our voice, we can try out the different voices, etc. I'll just keep it on Lucy. Our input mode, gaze interaction, touch, scanning, whatever it may be. I'll click touch today. Anything we do here is not, you know, we can change, or we can, you know, it's not a final decision. We can make edits as we go along. Communicator, then the page sets within it. So the page sets are what we call the little kind of folders of communication, shall we say, or access to different types of features within the software. We call them page sets within Communicator. So they're broken into 3 sections based for emerging communication, symbol communication, and text communication. I suppose with the emergence of Snapcore First in the past few years from Toby, most of their best features for symbol communicators would be within Snapcore, and I suppose their text communicators, literate users, we'd find within Communicator 5. So it's not to say there isn't features within Communicator that might suit some emerging communicators or symbol communicators. We'll have a look at them shortly, but most of the users that we in SafeCare would use would probably be within text communication. So I'm just going to select text communication for now. This is just a feature that tells you how you bring up your access to edit the system, which I'll talk about in a moment. So we finish, and I'll press OK. So it's created a kind of a sample homepage for you, if you like, which we can change and edit and modify to suit who we're working with. So it just takes a second to load, and here is, you know, a default page it may bring up for a text user. So we've got things like our speak, our email, this is our keyboard, text messaging, you know, our calendar, calculator. I'll go through some of these in a moment. So what I'm actually going to do, that's how you would set up a user. I've set up a user already kind of in advance of today, so I'm just going to switch over to that user. It's just I have some pages there quickly. We won't have to wait as long for me to jump in and out. So so we can imagine this is what my home page looks like. If I'm using a touch device and I want to open up the how to edit this page, I hold my finger on the touchscreen for a second. If I'm using a mouse like I am today, I just press right click. If I'm using a keyboard, I can press Control and M, and it brings up this menu. So this menu pops up on your screen, and this allows you to edit the system. So if I want to even edit this home page, the way it looks, the way it's laid out, I can click on Edit Home Page. And here I can change the background color. If I want something that's a bit more visual, I might use a different color. I can change the grid size. I'm currently using 6x4. I might want bigger icons. I might want smaller icons. I might have a key guard, whatever it may be. And I can manage the options that are here. So if I use text messaging a lot and I want that near the top, I can move them along. Or for example, if I don't use the calculator, I can just click on calculator and then can click remove, and I can remove that from my home page if I wanted to. So this gives us the option to kind of manage and move things around, change the color, change the grid size on our home page. So very kind of simple editing to do so. So to show you some of the page sets again, I'm going to right click with my mouse. If you're using a touchscreen, you might hold your finger. So when I'm in my edit home page again, and I'm managing page sets, I can move things left, right. As I said, I can make one as my startup. So if I want to start it in my keyboard or anything like that, I can do so. If there's more page sets that I want to add here that aren't here, that I feel there may be features within Snap that I want to add, I can do so by pressing this plus button here. So when I press plus, it brings up that menu that we spoke about at the start, the emerging, the symbol, and the communication. And I can look between each of these categories to see if there's any pages that may suit. I'll quickly bring you through some of them. So for emerging communicators, we may have simple selection pages. So just you can have a view of it. So if I click on the farm animal, for example, and I click view, it's just simple. I might be an eye gaze user and it might be just some cause and effect. I look at the screen and the cow moves. So it might be of interest to maybe somebody who's an emerging level, might want to pop bubbles and bubble wrap. Who doesn't like to pop bubble wrap? So again, if you've got somebody with a, maybe an eye gaze system or something like that, you might use some of these simple selections. Might be a good way of training them to use it, to work on that dwell function for eye gaze users. Some add-on products, there's the Sono software is included with Communicator. So for emerging, you've got the Sono Primo. I'm not going to go into that today, but if you want more information, do feel free to come back. Some visual scenes, again, I might be good for for somebody with simple selection. I might touch the screen, brings up the bluefish, etc. Bring up Nemo, and so on and so forth. Again, an eye gaze user might be a good way for them to select things, work on that on eye gaze. So scenes, other applications, if we want quick jumps into look to learn or IFX or any kind of those sensory softwares. Simple games, I've got matching games, memory games, and then I've got music. If I want to, play the drums or the piano or the xylophone, I can, have a look at this and say, okay. Again, things you might add to your homepage. Videos, I might want a video to start up with simple selection. I can have a look and press play and stop, etc. So again, these are things that are in the emerging communication and simple selection, choice of 1, choice of 3, choice of 4, etc. So I might see something in the emerging page set and I might say, look, I want a selection, and I just click add to home page, and when I go back to my home page, this page will be there. When I go into symbol communication, in my add-on products, I've got literacy AAC, and I've got the Sono Flex and Sono Lexis, which again are built into the software. From a communication point of view, we've got simple, communication books that I can make a book about myself, talk about my family. We've got, visual scenes. Again, we can edit and change all these to suit. So
balloons, birthday cake.
So by selecting these on my visual scene, very, very simple to do so. So again, they kind of increase in terms of complexity and the person's ability may need to be at a different level for each of these different visual scenes books. Some games, just a step up. We've got some jigsaws, we've got some matching colors, etc. Tools, we're bringing in maybe the camera, the alarm, etc. Some IR, which we'll talk about in a moment, if we're starting to do some environmental control, where we might be turning on and off TVs, radios, controlling parts of the home, doors and windows, etc., which I'll show you in a moment. And again, here we're going into the settings. So if you want the user to be able to independently change some settings, maybe the volume, the brightness, maybe change their input method. They may be an eye gaze user and they switch scanning. If they get tired, you might, depending on the user, they might want to be able to change that setting themselves. So again, if I want to select it, I just add to the home page. And then finally, we have the text-based communication page set. So in here, we've got our different types of keyboards. So again, if the person is literate, and again, it might depend on their access method, there might be a switch scanner, a keyboard user, a eye gaze user. So, somebody that may have visual difficulties may want large keys. So they might want their keyboard set up like this. Somebody might want the grid type keyboard. So again, for simple ABC with no predictive text or predictive words or phrases on their keyboard. Or they may use the speaking keyboard, which we're using now. Sorry, first one. The speak keyboard, which gives us our predictive word and our predictive phrase, which I'll go into shortly. Or if they're an eye gaze user, they may use the dwell free keyboard, which is a really, really fast way of communicating. So I'm going to go through those keyboards shortly. Long distance, we've got things like Facebook, text messaging, tools, again, internet access, calendars, Windows access if the person might want to control the computer itself, and so on. You'll find a lot more in here. But in the add-on products here, we have the accessible apps. So the accessible apps are it's a combination between Toby Dynavox and a company called JoinIn, who make pages specifically for, say, social media or specific type of apps that they work very well then with a communication software like Communicator. So it's a pay service, JoinIn, but with Communicator 5, if you buy with an iSeries or a PCI, you get it included with it, and then there's an upgrade service available for people on that already have Communicator 5. So Michael will talk a bit more about this tomorrow, but as you can see, there's Audible, Facebook Messenger, Google Translate, Instagram, Kindle, Netflix, Spotify, WhatsApp, YouTube, so SMS for Android. So lots and lots of really, really great accessible apps to use on the system. So again, I'd recommend joining tomorrow's session, and Michael's going to walk through these in a bit more detail and show you some of the great advantages of the combination between JoinIn and Communicator. So I've added some things to my page set, which I'm happy with. I can, as I said, I can change the size, etc., and change which applications I have here on my homepage. So I'm going to go into Speak for now. So this will say if we're a text literate user, this might be a keyboard we choose. When I start to type, as you can see, I've got predictive word here, and then I've got predictive phrase up here. So it can be, really fast for people to type. Say, hello, my name is Connor. I might get, because this is my first time using this. Hello, my name is.
Hello, my name is Connor.
Okay, so again, pretty straightforward keyboard to use. The user themselves, as I said, they've got quite a nice bit of control over this in their settings feature. So they can have autocorrect on or off. They can use recorded messages if we've gone through message banking, which I think is in Wednesday's ham sandwich session. And then we have things like you can record your speech history or your prediction language. You can have a different language for your prediction. So you might be a Polish user and you might want your prediction to come up in Polish, etc. Your dwell times you can change. You can have a different dwell time for normally on the system, whereas I might speed it up for when I'm using the keyboard, and I might have it longer than when I'm using my predictive. So you then also have your phrases. So it'll record your speech history, as you can see. Hello, my name is Connor. Or it could have different phrases that are already stored in it. So there's kind of templates within it. So you can go through these, edit them, have a look. But one really nice feature within Communicator for people using this prediction is that we can do a thing where it uses the first letter of each phrase for you to type it. So instead of having to come into my phrases, look for the phrase and find it, say if I wanted to use this phrase, I need some thickener added to my drink, please. So I'll come back here and I just put in I-N-S. So here you can see, I need some thickener added to my drink. So just by putting in the first letter of each word of the phrase, it brings it up into my predictive phrase, and then it comes up really quickly. So you can be really quick using that feature within the keyboard. So it's a really nice feature for people to use. So as I said, there's also quick talk. So say if I'm using this and I'm starting to write my phrases, and say somebody comes into the room and I don't want to delete this and start a conversation with that person, I can click on quick talk and just say hi.
Hi.
I go back, and then my phrase is still here, or whatever I've been typing there. So it gives you that opportunity to maybe hold nearly 2 conversations at once. Using the keyboard, so it becomes really, really fast. So I spoke about how you can maybe edit your homepage to do it, but I think what most people end up doing, and what we end up doing with a lot of our users, is that we'll have kind of specific home pages made for people. So here's an example of one that we use with people who might be, somebody maybe with a degenerative disease, or maybe text literate, and yes, they have their communication, they have their keyboard here, and they have their phrases here as well, but then they want those other features within Communicator. So they have their environmental control button here, where we're going into our TV, we can change the favorite channels on our TV, change the channel up and down, etc. I might want to control the house, turn on and off the lights. I might want to open and close the windows or the doors or whatever it may be. Answer the intercom, listen to my music, open up Spotify or YouTube. I want to access my phone, my emails, open up Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp. I'm using those accessible apps, and I'm just categorizing it into a page for myself. There's an accessible app for Zoom, so I might have a Zoom meeting. I'm using my accessible app. It fires up Zoom for me using this join in feature we spoke about. It gives me an option to log in with my software, etc. And I can start my meeting if I've got work or school or whatever it may be. I can sign in here and start to use Zoom. So again, this is just the way we've categorized it for somebody who may want access. It might not just be about communication. It might be a lot more that you want access. Those accessible apps, your environmental control, access to the internet, etc. So again, this might be when you open up Communicator, this is how it loads up. It goes straight to this page. This is now your home page. So for maybe somebody who doesn't require that level, as I said, we use Snap a lot for our symbol communicators. The great thing about maybe Tobii devices is that, like, if you get an i110 or an iSeries, you get Communicator and Snap Core included. So you might decide that you want Snap Core for your communication for symbol, but you want to kind of get those features from Communicator for those YouTube and WhatsApp and accessing your TV. It's very easy to do. So we can create a button here that will just launch Snap. Snap opens up. I can use Snap for my for my communication, and then when I want to go back to those features, I go back to Communicator 5 and I'm back into this page. So for the user, it's kind of a very good synergy between the two. As I said, I'm using my accessible apps. I may use one of those pages I spoke about, those cause and effect. I might have something here that I want to practice some of my eye gaze or my access method with. I might want simple environmental control. I just want to turn on and off the TV, and nice big buttons that are colorful for somebody to use. And I might want to access Board Maker as well. So it's a really nice feature with the Tobii software, is that you can link everything together. You might find pieces from one software and the other and have the two kind of join back and forth. So as I said, tomorrow Michael's going to go through some of these accessible apps, which I think are really, really good, and they're a nice feature for somebody that may be a Snap user. They might want YouTube access. So to do that, we might go through, the easiest way to do that is we might go through Communicator, and from here then I've got full access to my to YouTube, and I can you know, I'm using mouse dwell here, so I might want to open up this one or this one. So again, it makes it really, really easy for the person to use, and you know, combine the two softwares together. So that's a very kind of quick overview of Communicator today. As I said, if you want to get started, log on to My Tobii Dynavox. If you're a professional, click that professional account. You'll get a license for Communicator 5, a full license, where you can get up and running. And you know, if there's anything, a lot of these pages that we make, they're free to share. You might find them on our website, or they'll be on Pageset Central on My Tobii Dynavox. You can have a look. It's like an online place to find pages. Or feel free to get in touch. So that's step one. I hope it gives you kind of a very kind of light introduction to Communicator 5, and just get you up and running. That's all we're going to cover today.